are entering E&C's Pod of Awesomeness.
That's how you're starting it?
I'm not. I was waiting for you.
Your breath?
No, I'm not. I'm going to sit up here.
You out of breath? What's going on
no,
there,
we had a big dinner because you and I ate together. We had dinner in the chefs in the restaurant here are very accommodating.
Very nice.
We'll say that.
They keep coming out.
They keep coming out and talking to us and shaking our hands.
Wonderful folks.
Great people. Chef comes out of the kitchen, asks us if we enjoyed our meal. I told him it was the shits, and I threw it on the floor and said, fuck off. No, I didn't say that. It was very good. Thanked him very much for it. And then he said he was making us a very special dessert and brought us out cannolis and these powdered donuts. And, we're like, hey, we're trying to not have middle-aged dad bods here.
I used to be able to get away with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen anymore.
So
now I eat stuff like that, and I get out of breath.
I know. That's why I'm out of breath right now.
And your voice cracked.
You did.
Wow, you're really feeling affected by these
am.
powdered donuts and your cannolis.
My stomach hurts.
Mine does a little bit too.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie, I undid the drawstring on my pants while I'm sitting here.
All right. So speaking of being sweaty middle-aged dads, not really, but it seemed like a good segue. Old Flip Sunset and Paul Smackachuk both agreed not to appear this week. Out of respect for us announcing this contest we got going on.
Well, and the danger that they would just take over the pod.
Right.
Yeah, they're large personalities.
Yeah. Alpha males.
They are alphas, and they decide to take things over. And, I mean, we're alphas too. So who knows how that ends up.
Yeah.
I don't ever see Flip and Paul on the same team, per se, like an E&C versus Flip and Paul. I don't see that happening.
Well, anywho, there's a contest that, because Flip feels he's over enough now to have his own merchandise in the E&C Pod line that you can get on Pro Wrestling Tees, and so he wanted to put out their little contest to the hosers where they can come up with their own flip sunset design. He's kind of cheap, so he's not going to pay you any money for it. He's not going to give you money for it. He's going to give you a shout out on the pod, and he's also going to get you a free Paul Smackage and Flip Sunset T-shirt if you would win this contest, though.
But no money.
No money.
Let's face it.
No cash.
Flip has saved his money from his long, glorious career. Apparently,
there's saying a lot of the old timers use it's not how much you make, it's how much you save.
Exactly.
So, but. This is going to be another week where it's going to be a short intro because we're fucking tired. We've been shooting long hours. But
we're shooting all this weekend too. So
we are. We're working 7 days a week at this point.
But we, being multi-talented, being Renaissance men, we're doing this for you folks.
Yeah.
Is really what we're doing, hosers. We put in the time this week.
And also, Matt threatened to do it himself if we didn't do it. So, we figured that would really
make a Matt's Pod of Awesomeness.
Yeah.
And we had our guest this week, Cody Rhodes. He was in the bullpen for like 7 months.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that with him, and we'll explain what that all means and entails.
Yep.
And I honestly didn't have a chance to watch anything wrestling related this week.
Neither did I.
So no idea what's happening. Hope it all went well.
I can guarantee you this though. With the work we're putting in here, I'm super excited about Edge and Christian Show season 2. I think it's going to be pretty fucking kick ass.
It'll be ridiculous.
Yeah.
That it will. And hey, and we're talking about being Renaissance man, talking about being, we're on all these different platforms, talking about, hey, we're big deals. Talk about a big deal. Talk about our guests this week. Talk about multiple platforms. Yeah. Talk about promoting his own show. We're going to talk about all that. I'm getting excited. The endorphins. There they are. Brother. This is all I got. This is my last surge here.
And you even had a yerba since like 3:00 this afternoon.
I know.
It's the last of the yerba.
No goo.
All right, let's get to Cody Rhodes, and then we'll go to bed. You in your room, me in this room, because I don't want to see you anymore until
really hot and oily in here.
All right, let's talk to Cody.
Okay.
Hello.
So okay. Before we get started, we got to clear up the sitting in the dugout. What? So the last time we tried to get you on the pod, I reached out to you and Dustin by direct message, and I said, hey, we'd love to have you guys on. We want to do a celebration of your dad's birthday. Thought it'd be cool for both of you guys to be on. And then you responded, then Dustin responded, and then I said, okay, cool, here's the deal. I didn't hear from you, but Dustin responded, so I went, okay, I guess just Dustin's going to do it. I don't know. I didn't hear back from Cody.
I thought I sent a sounds great response.
Maybe. I don't know, but I sent the number, and then I didn't hear anything.
So
I think.
I sat there for an hour in the dugout, waiting for my name.
Well,
and
Jay told me that today, and I went, what? I thought he didn't want to do it. No.
I texted Dustin multiple times throughout the hour in this situation. But as you know, I'm in the limited amount of time you've been around Chicken, Dustin, he is very much about the spotlight. And I believe he deliberately excluded me from it.
Oh, he kiboshed you.
He kiboshed it. And when I said what happened, the quote, and you will have to go to Chicken for confirmation. But the quote was, Edge made the call. Edge made the call.
I like so he said to me, he goes, where's Cody? I was like, I didn't hear back from him. He goes, oh, okay. And that's where he left it. So I just thought, all right, well, let's get started. So we got started.
I also like when I texted you to see if you wanted to do it. And you said, is it for real this time? Are we really doing this?
Well, Brandy was asking me to do something that day. And I said, I got to do this one because that's a major league one. That's not one that you say, I've done a lot of these lately. That's not one you pass on.
Well, and I figured it was a pretty cool concept. I was like, this will be fun. So here's what I want to do. Let's do it next year. Okay. On your dad's birthday, let's sit down and let's just all of us talk about the American dream.
Yeah. And let's leave Dustin out.
Yeah. Right? I also like that when I sent you the call-in I sent you the call-in number for this, and then I said call in 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes pass, and we're sitting here going, oh, he's getting us back now. He's not going to call. And
no.
And I said, hey, we're waiting on the mound because you sent me previous that you were waiting in the dugout last time.
I had my little helmet on,
and then you said, do I call? And it would have been hard if we texted it. The pod, but
the last 3 days have been incredibly amazing, but also I have not slept in the 3 days. And
why? What do you got? You got something going on or something? Or?
I had a thing. And in the process of excitement / oh my God, we need this, we need that. Oh my God, we forgot insurance. How much is that? The excitement of all of this, I have been pretty remiss in all of my functions.
Ooh,
I forgot my wife's. I forgot her nuggets. She ordered some nuggets yesterday. She's on, the mend with the broken collarbone. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Oh God, laid into me.
And you forgot the nuggets, man. You can't
forget the
nuggets or any other type of food when you got a woman on the mend. You can't.
Yeah, no, it's a rookie mistake. Real.
Yeah, it's a rookie move, but you did have a little bit on your plate. Congrats with everything. I mean, we texted a little bit the other day, and I did offer. It looks like you didn't need my help with my offer.
I told the Bucks about that offer, and that's before the sellout.
Yeah.
I almost activated you.
Really?
I almost was like, hey, Mike, I did not think it was going to sell out. I mean, the character, and I'm fairly confident, but this is also first time promoter. I understand the concepts of let me lay out this card and what I think would be cool and what I think fans would want to see. But the other stuff is really just wild in terms of the amount of things you have to cover and whatnot. And I projected low. I thought 4,000 for the first month, And then after that, we'd roll matches out and we'd push our sponsors. We have a budget for advertising. We didn't touch that budget. So now we can buy some fireworks or something, you know? I don't know, man. So
you don't have to have two guys standing there with Roman candles or something and just...
Yeah, like the really weak, like cryo pyro. Like really, like we wanted to like up it. And now we have that open in the budget. I'm sure by the time I get off the call with you, the Bucks will have got something else that costs money because they're big. Spend it now, make more later. Big on that. And I like that philosophy. But hey, you know, at some point we gotta finalize this all. But yeah, it's been a great couple days. I'm very excited that it sold out in the time it did, and everything just really. I'm flattered by it, and I'm motivated by it as well. We really want to make it. You paid us, you know. We want to make this something incredibly special. It may only ever happen this one time, you know. There may only be one all in. So we got to make it good.
Well, and talk about it a little bit, because like, when did all of this kind of start to sprout in your brains? Like, when did this idea actually become, oh wait, this can be a reality? Like, when did the seed, when was that, you know, planted?
It was actually, we were just on the anniversary tour of it. Ring of Honor does a tour called the War of the Worlds, where they combined the New Japan Pro Wrestling talent and the Ring of Honor talent. And we did a small venue, I think a stage AE, which is like a 1300s theater style. We did a small venue to start that tour last year. And it was the beginning of 4 days of what we called Bullet Club parties, where it was a sea of Bullet Club fans and merchandise, and the meet and greet lines were out the door. And then at the end of the show, we would try to send them home happy. And the sentiment was so just strong. The feeling was so, I didn't want to leave. And the whole year ended up being like that in terms of these events. We seem to have captured a fan base. And then Meltzer, you know, said his thing about Ring of Honor not being able to draw 10,000 people. And I'll be honest, I think, you know, when you have pre-workout and the endorphins in your mind start firing and you can do anything, you know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
I walked in the locker room and we just started. I said to Matt, I know you guys have thought about doing this big show. Let's just Google it. Let's look up, how much does this building cost? Let's look it up. And in the meantime, Gary Juster, who works with Ring of Honor, who I've known since I was a little kid, I said, let's get his ass in here. Let's get him on the phone. Let's see how much these buildings cost, and see if we have the resources for it, and let's do it. And if we're not allowed to break contract because we're domestically exclusive to Ring of Honor, I said, whatever, let's go over. I mean, these are like, I was just talking. I was like, let's look overseas. And we did. We looked in Dublin. We looked in the West Coast. We looked everywhere. What it came down to was throwing calendars on the floor in the Tokyo airport with Rocky Romero, who is one of the office at New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we just said, we want our New Japan guys. We want some of the Ring of Honor guys. How can we all be there? And that's the date, September 1st. And Chicago's international. We were going to rely on a lot of people traveling into town. And that's where it fell. And it was, the Bucks had the idea of doing this. And I think I came in with a little bit of motivation to do so. And also, I let them know right away, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not looking for this to be my springboard back to WWE. I love WWE, but I want to try this. I want to try what we're doing. And I think they needed to hear that. They needed a real partner. And since then, man, it's been fun. It was fun to lay out the initial, the social media role. And then obviously Sunday, there's my wedding day, is the best day of my life. And then the second best day is sitting in that overpacked Jeep Grand Cherokee trying to buy a ticket online and not being able to because they were sold out. It was really just, man, blew my mind. Got to the building and everyone's thanking us, and I'm waiting for like the official call from the box office. Just a crazy moment, really crazy.
This time of year, it brings us two things, right? Graduation and Father's Day.
And we're both fathers.
Exactly. And the
Holy.
gifts that go along with them. So, but before you buy Dad another tie or that grad a balloon that will probably float away, ask yourself this. Does my dad or grad like wings or sports, or better yet, both?
Yes. Yes, I do. I enjoy both immensely.
And I do too.
Who?
If your answer was yes, here's what you got to do.
Well, you get them a Buffalo Wild Wings gift card right now. If you purchase $30 worth or more in-store or online, they'll give you a $5 bonus to keep for yourself. That's a gift card that gives back, Edgeruski.
How generous of you. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings,
Beer.
sports. Terms and conditions apply. And let's go back a little bit. So you leave WWE, and we can get into that after. But when you first leave, you have your list. You know, your kind of to-do list. And in anywhere in there, did you expect that this would end up falling on that list? Like, did you have a little inkling, like maybe, or was this is this just like gravy on top of your mashed potatoes?
I think this is like gravy because
Everybody loves
that.
gravy.
The list was, everyone loves it. The list was intense, and the list I looked at the list almost like a series of dates as well. Like that, I ain't gonna knock that out in a weekend. You know, I wanted to assure fans that I was going to stay a wrestler, stay wrestling. Nothing. Oh God, I get so mad. Brandy always says it to me as a joke, but when wrestlers get fired or they quit or whatever, and they say, "Stay tuned for the next chapter," I want to rip my hair out. I hate that. What is the next chapter? Don't say anything unless you've got something, you know, like I don't know. I hate false promises in wrestling. I'm a WCW kid. That company, as much as I love them, was full of false promises. So I try to have always fulfilled promises. So that list was my best attempt at doing so. Here's guys I've scouted. Here's guys from all different promotions. And here's guys that you tend to think are the best in the world from that real, like, kind of hardcore wrestling standpoint. I want to get in there and mix it up with them and try things and do things I hadn't done. And, I'm a WWE baby. I've been there since I was 20. 19, actually.
It's one of those things, too, right, where, coming up in WWE and people thinking that you're probably going to be there for life and would never even, entertain the thought of you being in the ring or sharing space with any of these other professionals, these other wrestlers, and for it to happen, it's a pretty intriguing and pretty kind of cool thing for, like you said, hardcore fans.
Yeah, I'm glad folks enjoyed it. In the process of covering the list, I found some great promotions, great independent promotions that have kind of graduated from independent to their own little brands. And in the process of all that, we're living in that age of accessibility, where every company can stream, every company can have a limited production. At least you can almost see everything you want to. So I like to think of it, the old expression in wrestling is perception is reality. I like to think we're very much living in the reality is reality. You can't say I'm the biggest wrestler in the world anymore unless you're literally the biggest. Now people can see, they can go everywhere. And NXT is to some degree to blame for that because they basically took and cherry picked these independents for the absolute best and polished them up, and they've got a kick-ass show too. But I had no clue that I would add to the list promoter for one event, and I'm real glad that I hooked up with the Bucks, and the Bullet Club has really added a coat of paint to my body of work, and man, just good times, man, good times.
It really is. It seems like, kind of lightning in a bottle in terms of, like you said, with social media and with streaming and all of these different avenues now that on paper, a smaller company or, a guy or a few guys who just decide, hey, we can run a show here. Like, that is now feasible and doable, and you guys are proving it. And to sell out in half an hour, what was it, 31 minutes, 29 minutes or something?
29 minutes for this. When the box office director called me and told you've sold through. You've sold everything.
And there's no one doing that right now. WWE is not selling out in 29 minutes. They're not, maybe if they did WrestleMania in a 10,000 seat venue, but I mean,
yeah, right.
It's not happening right now. Like you said, you can have, a 1,300 seat venue, things like that. So going back to, feeling some pressure to put on an amazing show for people. What are you thinking? Like, you got a stacked card.
I got about 4 cards. I'll tell you, one of the more arduous elements of this is Matt and Nick and I have agreed that nothing happens unless it gets a thumbs up from all 3. Ooh,
fair enough.
That is,
yeah, right.
that is not, and we're never arguing. We're just kind of staring at each other, waiting for you to move on something, and they have their ideas. Nick Jackson will tell you, I don't think it's a good match unless there's a dive in it. That's his big joke, but he's serious. And the Bucks fly around the ring like no one else. So it's very different walks of like life in terms of what we like in the business. I'm actually, even though I've taken the silly dick flip, which is not even silly, people love the dick flip. I've taken the dick flip twice, but I'm still really conservative with wrestling. Like some of the stuff I see on these shows, I'm like, man, this is crazy. But fans like it. And that's where we always try to get back to is, fans liking stuff. And, we also didn't want to be like hero bookers where we just book ourselves in the main of something. We wanted to make the show, make sense, and getting Kenny Omega and getting Okada, who are getting ready to have their big Dominion match in Osaka. That was really, those 2 are integral to the show. Pentagon, and then I have like a Wookiee life debt to Rey Mysterio. He don't even know it. Well, I mean, he's the guy who gave me. I was actually wrestling you guys in those. I was wrestling Edge and who was it? Edge and Ray. It was me and Alberto, and we had these tags prior to WrestleMania. That was not a lot of people know that. That was my first WrestleMania in a singles match. It's actually my first singles match on a pay-per-view ever, though. And it was at WrestleMania.
Really?
And yeah, and Ray was the one who kind of just ribbed me and brought me into the office that day with Vince and said, I want to work Cody at WrestleMania. He's got some good ideas. And I did, thank God. And that's where Vince, I think he even kind of played me. He said like, oh, you got it on paper. And I actually had it on paper in my bag. And I handed it to him. And after that, he just kind of grumbled. I got a yes out of that grumble. And I owe Ray everything I have, man. He don't even know. He doesn't even spell my name right. It's C-O-D. Bro, it's got to be a rib. It's got to because it's C-O-D-E-Y. And my name is spelled C-O-D-Y. Like, you've wrestled me on multiple continents. We've had a full rivalry. You have to know how to spell my name. And I have never mentioned it to him, but he always sends me a text that says C-O-D-E-Y. And I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know. I just accept it.
Well, Ray, we had Ray on the pod before, and I mean, as we all know, just a spectacular person, just like one of the most kind-hearted people in the world. I want to go back to the fact that you've used remiss and arduous. Mm-hmm. I'm very impressed with the vocabulary so far. Huge merit points with me there. And I can't believe that was your first WrestleMania singles match. That kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, that was my first WrestleMania singles match. It was my first singles match on a pay-per-view. It was incredibly nerve-wracking. I had done some pay-per-view matches a lot, actually, but with the Legacy or with Teddy, me, Randy, or just me and Teddy, or even, large tags, when they used to do that dang Raw versus SmackDown match, whatever the hell that was. So I'd had pay-per-view experience, but never a singles match. And I would like to thank you for complimenting my vernacular. I try very hard to maintain an astute vocabulary. I learned that from Nick Bockwinkel.
Astute.
He's the man.
Especially when you wear a suit everywhere, you kind of have to back it up with that, right?
Right? Yeah, you got to kind of lie to him, say some fancy stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, the best question when you were talking about kind of coming in with legacy and all that sort of thing, and I'm sure you've answered this question before, but I'm going to ask anyway. What did you find as far as like growing pains? I mean, because that's was a big spot to come in, right? Like a top spot with a top guy in Randy. And then obviously like that kind of stuff doesn't last forever. You ultimately end up going your own way. What were the kind of growing pains, or what were the things you kind of figured out when you split off from that? And what were some of the lessons you learned trying to find your way on your own?
Well, one thing I consistently learned with WWE, I'm sure I know you both figured this out over and over again, is you think you were working hard, and then you enter something new, you fill that block, and you're like, gosh, I'm covering this every second of every day. Like, that company, you always find out you could be working harder, I guess, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. There's always this graduated level that you're working at. And with the legacy particularly, I was the ugly duckling. I had a great spot, but I was the fall guy. Teddy was positioned to do, kind of be the next Randy. Randy was the man. And I'll tell you, if it had not been for Randy, I wouldn't have been in the triple threat at the WrestleMania in Phoenix. That was just supposed to be Teddy versus Randy, and they added me to it because Randy thought I deserved it. At least that's what he told me. Now that I say this out loud, I feel like maybe it was always a triple threat. And, oh man, I'm saying it out loud, feeling so stupid. Like, here's a deep voice, like just his lies. Anyway, I knew that I had to. I knew that I had to supersede Teddy in terms of I had to really. They put me on SmackDown. They weren't expecting much, but they definitely didn't set me up to fail. I started the dashing Cody Rhodes stuff, and during that period, I really I learned that I had to work a whole nother degree harder to compete with. It became a matter of there's this kind of pivotal moment where I stopped competing with my peers like Ziggler and Miz and DiBiase and Swagger. All those. There came a moment where I stopped competing with them. We did a South America tour, and after the show, Teddy got real drunk on the bus. Well, many guys get real drunk on the bus, and I loved Teddy, but I was really jealous of him, just incredibly jealous of him. And he came into catering, and he was so drunk, like only one eye was open, and he's kind of just like slurring his words. And he approached the piano, and this is like a really nice piano in like the middle of South America on this like balcony overlooking the water and all this. And he like flipped the piano lid up real hard, and I was like, oh no, this is going to be a mess. And he sat down, and with one eye, he started playing. And he starts playing some of the most beautiful music I've ever heard from a piano. And he's just smashed, just destroyed. And I actually remember I told someone at the table, I said, you know what? I'm done competing with him. I'm done. I'm just going to compete with myself. Because I had, when you're a Hall of Famer's kid, when you don't have to work hard to get the gig, it becomes a matter of once you get the gig, you have to work incredibly hard to even get in the, to get in your own discussion. Half the time my discussion, I saw an article today about a podcast I just did. They didn't even use a picture of me. They had a picture of Dusty. I'm not Dusty. Like I get it though. And Dustin don't help because he got really over. Taking me off podcasts and stuff.
Well,
so it's tough.
It's an interesting challenge. It really is, and we've talked to Natty about it. In that, it might be an easier way to get looked at because of your lineage. But then, once you're in, then you have more pressure than guys like Jay and I. We could go under the radar and kind of learn our craft and earn our,
there's no
way.
expectations to live up to, right? Like,
Yeah.
And not to mention, they're pretty lofty when you're talking about a guy like Dusty Rhodes. Like, I mean, that's a little different than, just your average. You can't say average run-of-the-mill wrestler because that's not true either, because it takes a special individual to do what we do. But I mean, he's revered as one of the greatest ever, and those are large shoes to fill.
Yes, but what I appreciate about what you've done is you've gone your own way. You really have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you talked about dashing, and then turning it into the mask and wearing that, and all the different incarnations that you've had. I
think too. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think too that anything that you've done, especially those things that Adam just said, you've always owned them, so to speak. You didn't just be like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing now. You always put maximum effort. You always almost like a character actor. You became that. You
wore a damn mustache for a long time, man. That was some commitment there.
I loved how it looked on TV. I was so sad when I'd see it just in the morning in my real life. And people just are getting on a plane and stuff. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what you get paid. Like, I always thought that would kind of be, because stuff was clicking, like Dash and Cody Rhodes clicked, and the mask clicked more, but it wasn't clicking to the level of like, holy smokes, he's going to win Money in the Bank and he's our next guy. It was clicking to a degree. Mm-hmm. So after a while, I started to think, especially around the Stardust period, I started to think maybe this is going to be my thing, is that when I finally get like super where I want to get, when I finally win, I'm going to be a combination of all these things. Because I really did like to commit. I try to think, and this is going to sound really goody two-shoes, but I try to think wrestling is way more fair than people think. Really hard-working people get rewarded a great deal of the time. I am sure you guys have shared the locker room with people that social media will always tell you are underrated, or, gosh, I wish they'd give this guy an opportunity. Some of those guys aren't underrated. Some of them are lazy and phone the live events in, and just, what I'm like, I'm sure you've seen it 100 times. Not everybody can do what you both did. Not everyone who didn't get there because somebody held them down. Sometimes people are just lazy. And, I always like to commit to the bits I got. I committed to Stardust because it was so ridiculous that I felt like if you didn't commit to it, it was even more sad. Yeah. Like you had to really commit to it and own it. Otherwise you could see Cody in it. You could see it. And that was sad versus when the lights are up, that's Stardust, And that was a lot of kids come to these independent shows and they have their Stardust figures in their gloves and they have no clue I did anything else. And hey, what are you going to do? I'm glad they liked something.
Well, and anything that, whether it's a movie, whether it's a TV show, you can tell the actors or wrestlers that are fully committed and fully in,
right?
And ones that are, like you said, just phoning it in. There is a difference, and I do think there are people that have been overlooked, but there are a lot of people who. People may complain that never got this opportunity, that opportunity. And like you said, there's a lot of times there's a reason why that they didn't, that people might just not know about because they don't know the inner workings. They don't know all of the things that this, entails.
Yeah. So many people want to, evil Vince, evil Hunter, man, it's come on, It's the wrestling business. Everybody's evil to some degree, right?
And as you're finding out now that you're promoting, it's a hard gig. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
I promised everybody they were going to be champion, so I got to reel it in. Got to reel it in a lot.
Yeah. So when was it that you decided, hey, I want to go out on my own here. I want to jump out of the safe boat, because let's face it, you were fine. You were going to be figured in. You'd have, you'd keep doing what you were doing, or more or less, who knows? But you jumped out of the dinghy basically and decided, right, I'm gonna swim on my own here and see how that goes. When did that all really start to take shape for you?
It was probably when someone told me he was going to have to work with me again.
Well, that might be it.
No, man. No, I'm gonna go on record because I get often asked the question of who is your favorite person to wrestle in WWE, and you're not gonna believe me. If they ask me what my favorite match was, I usually say TBD because I like to think that my favorite match is one that's gonna happen soon or hasn't happened. But when they ask me who my favorite person I wrestled with in WWE was, I always say you. Always.
Who, Edge or Christian?
Christian.
Thanks, buddy.
Well, I mean, I never got anything other than my favorite Edge moment was we got to do a face-to-face in Canada, in Toronto, in the ACC. That's one of my favorite moments ever. And the matches I had with Christian, especially on tour, were some of my. It was actually a defining period for me because there were producers and there were people, not that they were wrong or bad, who were telling me like, you're going too fast or you rush this, but I was in the ring. I don't get those reactions normally, and I got them tonight. So you're wrong. Christian is right, if that makes any sense.
Well, and it goes back to, like you said, Jay never phoned it in ever on a house show.
No.
He's one of those guys that never did. And I think maybe that's the speed that producers got used to, is a lot of guys maybe phoning it in. And then you see someone who's not, and it's like, what? Oh, they're going too fast.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah, no, I think that was the right
It all goes
speed.
along with feeling the crowd too, right? Yeah. Like some nights you might go faster than the other one because that's what that crowd is asking for. You know, you have to know your audience and give them what they want. That's, especially on live events when there's very little pressure as opposed to when you're on TV. But no, we did work a lot, and I loved that too. And I remember we had a little funny story in Ottawa when you did like an article, and I remember you said something about like 90s guys or something like that, and I called you on it in the locker room or something, and you really thought I was mad. You thought I was, and it was pretty funny, but we kind of hit it off after that. And then one thing I did appreciate about you was, you know, obviously, like I said, who your father and your brother are, and you could have walked around with a sense of entitlement. You never did. You always respected everybody, especially people that were there before you. And when I really got to work with you, how open your ears were and how thirsty you were for knowledge. And I always appreciated that because, like I said, of where you came from.
Oh, well, thank you. I have a expression that the Bucks hate because I take a lot of shows that they're not on, and sometimes they'll ask, like, what are you doing here? What are you doing? And I always say bumping and learning, and they hate it. But, like, that's my thing. I'm not going to learn anything just sitting at home. I'm not going to learn anything. And I don't know. It's always amazing to me when people pass judgment on you as a wrestler, like, never made it in WWE, and he's never talking about me or talking about anybody, and he's never going to make it here or whatever. I'm 32. Give me a break, man. Like, you learn every single time you go out there. And all my favorite wrestlers were mid-30s when they hit their big moment or their stride. So ease up on the never will type thing, and I still think that every time I go out there. And this is currently what is my only vocation. You know, so I tried my damnedest to be good at it. And, yeah, back to what I was saying. I always tell people you're my favorite person to work with. And to further extrapolate on that, and I don't...
Ooh, extrapolate.
There it is, man. I'm killing it today. Killing it.
You're on fire.
Yeah.
Whew. So one thing that I don't know if people have told you on the show, and I don't know if it's something how inside you guys go, but I do have to state, the art of the false finish and the art of the end of a match, the first person I'd really begun to learn that with was Christian, because I was not over during that period. So how can I get this crowd to come to a fever pitch for something that's not over that I'm doing, and me not being over as a talent per se, like over to a big extreme level? That closing stretch, that last It can be 8 to 12 minutes, whatever that is. That was where I learned it. And then you and Randy went out and I don't know if that's 3 pay-per-views in a row or whatever, but gosh, magic, man. Good stuff.
Thanks, man. I wasn't looking for that much. I really wanted you to put me over.
He did.
I was a roundabout way of getting, I like to put myself over a lot on this podcast, so I was just
everybody,
did that without having to actually do it myself. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hey, man. Hey, I think I got so far away from the question too, because the question was like, why did I leave WWE? I don't know why we're talking about you,
he can play these mental gymnastics with people where he just somehow is able to get them to start putting him over. Maybe not in the ring. Maybe not in the ring, but everywhere else.
Yeah. He Jedi'd me. You Jedi'd me. You guys have been Vince is you must have learned, because he's the one. That was always the expression I heard. If you have a big complaint or you're going to take something to him, or I'm going to go stand my ground, and then you go in and talk to him, you leave thinking, oh, that's great, but nothing changed. Like,
oh yeah,
it might even have got worse. Yeah, he Jedi'd me.
He is the ultimate for that. He can.
So now that happened, and I appreciate it. I guess we could talk about your decision to.
Well, I mean,
now we can get back to the question.
Yeah.
Leaving was really difficult, but it was also the easiest decision I'd ever made. It was difficult because I had a family, 19 years old. I go to OVW and I have my friends, and, I have little Zack Ryder, who he's still there. And I have Dustin, who the dynamic with Dustin and I is unique because he's older, but somehow I adopted the older brother element of it. So I got family there, and I got Arn is a huge part. I mean, all these people, whatever. And that was hard to not tell them, because this was a decision I had to make. And everybody was being receptive. I wanted to go back to being Cody Rhodes. Vince was being receptive to it. Hunter was being receptive to it. Problem was they were taking too long. And my dad had just, he had been a minute, but he had passed away, and there was some inner turmoil. And when you have that inner turmoil, the last thing you want is turmoil at work, I think. And I just couldn't handle it. It was sad. It was sad to put on that suit. It was sad it was like being a sad clown, literally. It was sad. And I knew they were receptive, and they had thought maybe it was a good idea, but I needed it now. And it just came to, I'm going to leave. You guys don't get to fire me, but you also don't get to fix me. I'm going to go out, and I'm going to fix myself, and who knows what I'm going to do after that. And I had all that time to think about it, and that's where the list came from. And then the list leads to, meeting the Young Bucks in Reseda and being open to their psychology and their type of wrestling, because it's unique. And that leads to All In Chicago and being a first-time promoter. And I don't know where we go from here. I don't know.
That's got to be pretty exciting, though. Just to have, like I said, jumped out of the boat and into the ocean, and you're swimming. You Ring of Honor, New Japan, and now promoting this All In show. I mean, so far everything's going pretty great, man.
Yeah, no, we're waiting for the bottom to drop out. Some bad stuff, some bad's got to happen. Yeah, no, man. You know, one thing I'm really excited about for All In, and it's not All In itself, because obviously I'm excited about that, but a group of people approached us about piggybacking off the event, and they said, we want to partner with you, though. We don't want to piggyback and do it in a way that's like disrespectful. We want to joint promote and help. And that's StarCast, which Christian's going to be part of StarCast. And they've given us so much freedom in terms of, hey, we'd like to do this here. We're doing a weigh-in, an all-in weigh-in, which I'm sure talent's going to be stoked about when I tell them you have to legit weigh in. I'm sure that's going to be just a myriad of text messages. But Yeah, I didn't think about it when I put the graphic out, especially the girls' matches. Whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Maybe nobody weighs in. Who knows? But yeah, they've been so great about bringing in the legends, bringing in the podcast groups, bringing in the young just the vendors, everything. And they've let me have a say in all of it. And it's so cool to see folks that helped my dad in any way. It's so cool. Or even if they were just loyal to my dad, because I'm still his son. At the end of the day, you always remember those people. It's so cool to be able to basically give them a payday. I know that sounds weird, but like to help them in any way, and that to me, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for the whole Thursday through Sunday. Absolutely going to be madness. I was talking about doing this kind of a spoiler, but we were talking about doing a big tailgate in the parking lot today, where we're going to do not a Royal Rumble, but like a battle royal called All Out. I kind of spoiled it already. So if it doesn't happen, I'm so sorry. But it probably will happen because I said it. So now I got to will it to existence. But yeah, we were talking about doing some wild stuff with the event, and there's so many cool people there. If you think we suck, that's cool. There's somebody you got to know, you got to love at StarCast. And they're selling tickets. They're burning tickets up. So it's just cool, man. I think fans are going to really, really enjoy the 4 days.
And so go back to that a little bit and how like people that worked with your dad are now working with you, and I don't know. This is such an interesting industry in that it really is kind of that whole, cyclical kind of giving back thing. I don't know of too many like it, honestly. It's kind of crazy, and in a good way. I mean, so when are you going to finally, do you think, kind of sit back and decompress from all of this? Like, are you going to take a break after this? Do you just need to unwind for a week? Do you not know yet? Or is it right next onto the next plane to Japan?
Probably right next on the plane to Japan, but I got pretty hammered on Sunday on ticket day. I got pretty liquored up, tried to arm wrestle some folks. I was pretty into it. And the Bucks don't drink, so it's even more fun dynamic. Like, they want to have a pizza party, whereas I want to like destroy a bar. Like, it's a very there's somewhere in the middle that we have to meet. So I knew I was going to allow myself to celebrate that night, and then right the next morning we were going to have a bunch of emails about stuff we need to do, forgot to do, or stuff we have ideas to do. So I tried to take that moment, and I got some great advice from Paul Heyman. One thing he said is enjoy it while you do it. And I'm gonna try my damnedest, because wrestling, this whole thing we do, you never know where somebody's going to be tomorrow. We have this weird family, and being the elite crew with the Bucks and everything, we've become a family, but you never know if somebody goes to WWE or if somebody retires, or hell, you don't know. If somebody gets a movie, who knows? So we have this moment, and we have this thing, this all in, and we just got to enjoy it while we do it. And I think it's really going to be great. I think people are going to I hope they love it.
It's a really great point, and it's really good advice. And it is one of those things that when, if I talk to some of the NXT guys or anything, or younger guys, and they ask, it's like, you got to soak it in too. You can't just let the train pull you to the next destination. It's like, take that moment, look around, soak it all in. And, I've talked about it before on this for my last WrestleMania. I didn't know it was my last WrestleMania, but if you watch me when I'm on the turnbuckles, it kind of looks like it's my last WrestleMania, because I really made a point to just sit there and soak it all in, and really just take that crowd in and the experience, and give yourself that moment to really kind of just soak in what you've been a part of doing, you know?
Yeah, and then you saw me behind him when you had that look saying, would you just fucking retire so I can have your spot?
I have a funny story about this. Is Atlanta, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the match after that match, right?
Wow.
And it was you, Alberto, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And you smashed the car.
Yep.
So I'm the match after you guys, and you have this outstanding match, and it's all wonderful, and you're up there smashing the car. And I don't know what the hell was going on, but they start screaming at me to go, right? You've cleared, and I've barely seen the car clear, but there is all this glass on the hill that I walked up, and it's all over my boots. And I thought, I'm going to rip the canvas, and I'm going to cut Ray, and I'm going to be fired. And how do I get this off my boots? It was crunching beneath my feet as I walk up there for that instrumental Smoke and Mirrors that was playing for that WrestleMania. So the car scared me to death. Scared me. It ended up, I didn't track any glass in the ring, but Michael Hayes just started screaming at me, and I think he was wrong. I don't think I was supposed to go yet.
They were probably supposed to clean something up first, but yeah.
Yeah. That was my memory. It was right after you.
That car was a beast, and you know, they just said smash it up. So all right, I guess I'll just start smashing it up and dropping elbows on it. The thing was like a 1983, I don't know, Rolls Royce or something. It was like a tank. It was brutal. So, well, I apologize that you had to walk through glass before you
worked
Ray in your first singles pay-per-view.
No, man, I wanted everything to go wrong. I wanted it all. You know, Ray couldn't get his little Captain America gloves off. It was just a treat. It was just a lesson. Just a lesson, man. I was glad. I was just happy to be part of it. It was really cool to follow you guys and be on that show, and man, and that was Atlanta too, so it was fun.
Yeah.
Let me ask another question, and kind of going back to your decision to venture off and try new things. When you decided to go to Ring of Honor, how's the experience there been, and also how to feel when you had a chance to be their world champion?
So the first Ring of Honor show I had was in Hammerstein Ballroom, and I've never wrestled in Hammerstein, and I walked in, and Gary Juster, who I've known since I was a child, is their market rep / legal department. And he handed me a check. I've never even had a match. I've never taken a bump in your ring. Handed me a check, and something about that familiarity, also that check being handed me, everything they've done since for me they've been firing on all cylinders. They had a 30% gross increase in their company through the year in terms of houses and dollars. Like they had a great year, and the management they have, Greg and Joe Koff, man, they've treated me incredibly well. I definitely have a sense of loyalty to them because of how wonderful they've treated me. And that was my first world championship, kind of recognized world championship. And to wrestle Christopher Daniels for it at that, because he's one of my favorite people. And again, we were talking about me going up and getting stuff all over my boots. In the first 30 seconds of my match with CD, he bust my lip from my nose to my lip. So I've just got a huge triangle bleeding profusely, no clue. So it was one of those everything went wrong, but everything went right type moments. And that was a really special, you guys have wrestled in the Lowell Memorial. That's where Sean lost his smile. It was just outstanding moments, and to be able to carry it as I did for as long as I did, and to introduce the new belt coming back to Final Battle this past year. The coolest feeling in the world is to have text messages from people in our industry who don't have to text you. They don't, and somebody like Triple H telling me congrats for for winning the Ring of Honor title. It makes what we do real. My dad always told me that's the only real thing we do is the world title. And, and there's lots of world titles, obviously. And, but that one, that was really validated for me in that moment. I was really, really happy.
So is there a part of you that feels, or are you wired this way, a part of you that feels some vindication that the decision to do this, that helps solidify it with you? Yeah, no, vindication is one of my biggest words. I think the greatest revenge you can have is success. Agreed. And it's more honest than anything else too. I could tell you all the great things about WWE, but there is, at the end of the day, WWE also didn't think I was top, and I thought I was top. And these type moments have made me feel that vindication, and you get that little bit of kind of look at me now, I told you so type. But I'm wired to where, I don't know why, when these things happen, it just makes me, I don't know, the world is not enough. I keep wanting more. That's why I said the bottom's got to fall out eventually. Because right now, I don't know. Plus, I had a pre-workout, so right now I could do anything.
We've talked about this a lot on here too. It's at some point you have to bet on yourself, right? And that's a thing we've talked about a lot on this. At some point, it gets to the point where, look, it's up to me. I have to sink or swim, but I need to bet on myself. And if I can do more, I need to know that I can do more, right? And you have to do it.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, who else is going to bet on you? We live in this world where you kind of need somebody to sponsor you. You need someone to endorse you, especially in these production meetings, things of that nature. But at the best possible thing is when you can bet on yourself, and you can always remember that, hey, I was the first. I was told over and over again that leaving WWE was a terrible decision. That when it happened, I think Dustin was trying to get me back, and Brandy was the only person I remember who flat out said, "No, you'll do it. It's going to be great." And she might have been lying, which is okay, but it did, and it worked out. And I have a completely different outlook on our industry now. I don't play my music how you tell me to play it. You can give me a time, you can give me a finish, but it's mine. It's mine to play. If you think it sucks, let me know. Yeah, I'm open to suggestion, but you're not going to go tell me how to play my music. I'm going to play it how I want to play it, and I'm going to learn, good, bad, or indifferent, if I played right,
Yeah. I want to tell you about Full Sail University's Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. You don't know Dan Patrick.
I know him.
Yeah, you do.
I've seen him. I've heard him.
He's
a handsome man.
He is. You know him from the Dan Patrick Show, Sunday Night Football, the Olympics, and Sports Center. He's teamed up with Full Sail University to offer an accelerated bachelor's degree in sportscasting. Full Sail University combines hands-on learning, immersive projects, and faculty with real-world experience to prepare students for life in the media industry. And for the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, they brought in some of the sports media's best to be part of the program. Longtime ESPN producer and multi-Emmy winner Gus Ramsey, who I can attest to is a great guy. He knows his stuff. He worked on The Edge and Christian Show with us. Well, he's heading up the program. And sportscasting pros such as Sage Steele, Jay Harris, Bill Simmons, and many more are involved. Students will learn sportscasting inside and out, on camera, behind the camera, podcasting, radio, interviewing, and everything in between. At Full Sail University's Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, you can earn a bachelor's degree in about half the time, as short as 20 months. And you can choose to earn your degree online or on Full Sail's campus in Orlando, Florida. To learn more about Full Sail University's Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, go to fullsail.edu/awesomeness. I meant to ask you this earlier, too, and I kind of forgot. What was the I know you came up in the business, and I know Dusty wasn't always with WCW, and he did a lot of independence and things like that before he started coaching and doing the thing he was doing at the PC and those sorts of things. But was there any kind of culture shock or anything like that when you, like you said, you were kind of a baby in WWE and brought up there, and that was your family? When you stepped away and started back on and went to independence, was there any kind of culture shock?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's Gabe Sapolsky wrote me this wonderful email before my very first Evolve show, and the top of it says, "Welcome to the Indies." And the very first thing I did after I got off the plane for my first show was I got into a van with about 11 people, and it was a van for maybe 5, bags packed to the gills, no hotel yet, sharing rooms. I mean, these are little like creature comforts you take for granted in WWE, but then it also the concept of the gimmick table of, it's not a big high res presentation. It's a table with you standing behind it. You choose to set your prices and all that stuff. You've done access a bazillion times. We're not getting paid for those access signings, that's just part of the deal with WWE. Whereas in the Indies, there's all this cash exchanging hands. It was just definitely, it was a culture shock, but what I've noticed is there's the opportunity for grassroots brand development.
Uh-huh.
You have a chance to really engage your fan base more, to meet them and to talk to them. Because my rule of thumb, and you're both wonderful, you guys are both beyond wonderful with fans. My rule of thumb is you can always judge somebody by how they treat fans. I've done some meet and greets with some of the biggest baby faces ever who are absolute dicks to fans. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you have too. That to me, come on, man. Come on. I always use the Big Red Machine. I use Glenn as my model for those collectors that show up at 4 a.m. Yeah. He would just look at them and sign everything they handed him. He just had a way of that not being a complaint. There was a time when that wasn't happening. And I just, to me, that's one thing I noticed about the independents was the ability to grassroots to build your fan base up a little bit more.
Yeah, you also, I would be remiss if
good.
I didn't mention, thank you, if I didn't mention the fact that you've also done some acting since you stepped away from WWE. How is On Arrow with Stephen Amell, and also the fact that Stephen Amell has now, kind of jumped both feet in with you guys. In appearances and everything. So just go a little bit into that and the SummerSlam match and how all of that and everything since comes about and how you enjoyed the acting. So it's a multi-tiered question.
Sure. Steven was a real DIY situation. He was coming to do a tour backstage at Nassau, and WWE, you're not famous there unless you're a wrestler. Like the bubble of WWE, you're either a famous wrestler or you're not. And Steven has this massive fan base. He's the lead on this show. He's helped bring the superhero to the genre in general. He was the first. He's the captain on the CW, and so many shows that have followed, and so many shows have followed in the streaming world. But I knew he was coming. He was doing a tour. I thought that's a big deal. Is he going to sit in the front row? Maybe Stardust used to hiss at people. So I said, maybe I can hiss at him. He could stand up, and that'd be it. And I hadn't even met him yet. And I went over to Marty with a camera, and I said, can we walk through this one time? So I'm walking through this segment that I don't have. That I have a 4-minute match where I think I was going under 4 minutes and whatever. And I said, this week, because he'd be the perfect foil. Stardust is supposed to be a villain. He'd be like the perfect foil for it. And so I went through it with Marty, and then I met him in catering. I'm in full paint and everything. I just feel like a dick. And he was so cool, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'll do it, but I got an early morning flight, so when are you on?" And I was like on way later, and I lied. I was like, "Oh, I think like second hour." I was like on the beginning of the third hour. It was second hour. It was okay, yeah. But I could tell he was hiding a little bit. He was hiding the fact that he was a massive fan of the business, and he wanted to do this spot. And we did, thank God. I didn't know for sure because I went to Vince at the very last minute and said, "Hey, I want to do this." He looked at me and I thought he was about to say no. And he just said, "Oh, yeah, you can do that thing with the actor. Be actor." And the actor. And I went and did it. And I walked out, and Stardust used to walk on the barricade. And I looked, and literally that was how I knew he was there. He was sitting there. I went over and hissed. He stood up. He got a nice little reception from the people before they took the spotlight off him. And I think when he got that reception, it got in his blood, just like it gets in anybody's blood. And then he was both feet in. He came to two of the worst live events ever in like the Maritimes. He came to two live events to go over stuff. He only had 2 practices. He was springboarding. Miz can't even do a springboard, like he's in there springboarding and landing picture perfect gymnast style right in front of me. He just jumped in and had such a respect and that relationship. We've made wine together with Knocking Point Winery. I was able to do 2 episodes of Arrow, and he's just been great. When it came time to All In, I absolutely wanted to attach him to it, not just because he has a huge fan base, because he's my friend, and this is something I'm doing with my friends, and it's great that he's always wearing the Young Bucks shirt and stuff. It's just, he has a great love for the industry, and I hope he continues to, with WWE, with what we're doing, I hope he continues to make the shows and always be there for it, because he just loves it, man. He got in his blood, but he's also Canadian, like you guys.
That's what I say. He's a good dude. He's Canadian,
And all Canadians, most Canadians can go. Like, they can go. They can go in a fight, and they can go in a fun, artistic fight in the ring. They can go. That's like a thing, isn't it?
It does seem to be a thing. It kind of does. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of instances where it doesn't. But you also got to remember, too, in a country of, 37 million people, really only the true cream is getting to the top that you see. You know what I mean? So there's that, too.
Okay. I will remember.
And no wonder he got hooked, because it's instant gratification. So with wrestling, you get that, what I assume you would get from theater, where it's like instantly you know whether it worked. And with acting, you think maybe it worked, but you're not entirely sure. You're taking the director's word for it. You're going on some instincts, but there's a lot of questions, and there's a lot of questions that comes with how it's edited and what take did they use, and maybe they didn't use your best take, but they used the best take for everyone in the scene. There's a lot of different things that go into it that are it's just interesting. So I wanted to see what you thought of it.
Yeah, the first time I was on set, they asked me they said real fast, you're in your trailer, then they come get you. They talk you through the scene like you've been there the whole time. And then they back off and they go, basically. And they said, you grab him by the throat, make an exaggerated motion like you broke his neck, because my character on the show, Derek Sampson, he can't feel pain, so he's like super strong. And then they said, punch him one time too. Like right before, the director just added, he goes, give him a punch. So, okay. I can get the throat thing. I get that. But I didn't ask any questions. I was like, what does he mean? Punch, like a working punch? Like, what do I do? And right before they call action, I start walking, I grab him, and I put my hand on his forehead. Like I was going to throw like an Ole Anderson. Like I was going to throw an Ole punch, and then they cut, thank God. They saved me from that moment. That stuntman from the first day never wanted to work with me again, because when they gave me the Iggy that I could be rough, I was too rough. So now I've learned. Even though when you do stuff with Steven, he beats can I say, like, he beats you up.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's out there, he beats the shit out of you, and he has that look in his eye, like, come on. That's crazy.
Steven's a big dude too. He's a big dude.
Yeah, that's deceptively big. I think some wrestlers, when they meet him, are like, damn it, you know, he's just as tall as me. Yeah, he's deceptively big. Everyone on Arrow, I don't know your experience on Flash, but everyone on Arrow is big.
Yeah, it's weird on Flash, not so much because Grant's the star and he's tall, but he's a slight guy, because the Flash has to be fast or whatever. But with Vikings, it's a really big cast. Definitely the biggest cast that I've been around, where it's like, I'm still bigger than everybody, but maybe by 15 pounds instead of by 50.
That's good though. You got that 15 pounds.
I still got that 15, man.
Yeah. Let them know. Let them know.
Yeah. Alex is still a few pounds behind me.
Anyway, man, we've kept you for a while here, and you did us solid here last second.
Jeez, yeah, we've had an hour and a half.
Jumping on, and I guess you've actually been in the bullpen here for about 6-7 months. So we appreciate you waiting to give you that signal and hand you the ball. But,
guys, I wanted to come out and throw. Thank you very much.
No, we appreciate it, man. And like I said, I wish we talked more. We probably should, but every time we do, it's always great catching up with you. Happy for all your success, and you've always been one of my favorite guys since I met you. And congrats on all the success for the All In show, and taking a huge chance, man, and having it pay off the way that it has. And I mean, it's obviously a huge house, and just think about how much. You don't never have to worry about being able to afford getting that hair bleached again. You can do it as much as you want.
No, I'll never.
No roots ever.
It's actually really pricey. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Get this. We could have said, hey, here's the information to get your tickets. We don't need to do that because they're already sold out. You can't get them anymore, you marks.
Yeah, you fucking marks bought all that shit. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'll see Christian at Starcast. And hell yeah.
It's a term of endearment on this podcast.
Yeah, it's a term of love on this pod.
Hey, I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
So you guys know, I stood in the grocery store because they're about to close, and I have to get groceries. But I was like, I don't want to speed it up.
Yeah.
Because I've been waiting for this chance to throw. But
you're like Mitch Wild Thing Williams. You're finally getting your shot.
Yeah.
So now
I can't screw it up. So they almost closed on me.
But it is 20-10 where we are. So you might have 20 minutes left where you are, I think, right? So we better.
I got it.
All right, buddy. Good catching up, man. Again, congrats, and we'll catch up soon.
Congrats to you guys, and thank you very, very much. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you, buddy. Well, that was a great conversation. Yeah. What a well-spoken young chap.
Yes.
And I like the fact that real quickly before we started into our outro here that Mega Matt said that he didn't realize he's the same age as Cody and feels like he has accomplished nothing in his life.
That's not true,
Matt. Mega Matt, you are the producer for the E&C Pod of Awesomeness.
That's true. That's
got us, and we.
So I'm going to take that back. Not everyone has Jay sing to them.
Exactly.
That's right.
We've got you, Matt.
We've got you,
Matt.
What you want?
If ringtones are still cool, that would be it right there.
Yeah.
A little mashup.
We will serenade you all night.
Right. Cool, man. Well, no, it was a great conversation. Good dude. Glad, everything's working out for him because he has always been one of those guys that is not afraid of hard work and always has been about putting the work in and to get the results, and it's happening for him.
Yeah, it's always strange sometimes to look back. Like, he's a guy that I wrestled a few times in tag team matches, like multi-tag team match scenarios or like Raw versus SmackDown scenarios, never really got to like get in there with them kind of thing, but anyway, it's besides the point of what I was going to bring up is the fact that like they are truly showing that if done properly, a buzz can be built and this thing, it sold out in 29 minutes. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really cool, not only for them, but just for the industry as a whole.
Right.
For to see success
Yeah,
like that
it's
can happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it just shows the industry is strong.
It shows
all
that
around.
there can be 82,000 podcasts
Right.
about wrestling.
Uh-huh.
It shows that I don't know. It just shows that it's still alive and strong,
Mm-hmm.
and in a different way than it used to be. It used to be where there was 2 or 3 major companies,
Yeah.
and now it really has fractured and become.
Yeah.
There's always going to be WWE. There's always going to be the monolith.
Right.
That's going to be there, and,
Yeah.
and that's understood. But they've even understood to branch out and make an NXT
Right.
and to do all of these different things. And I don't know. It's just cool. It's a fun time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah,
You know?
it is.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, it was good talk, and
Oh, you want to get it going, is what you're doing.
well, I'm tired.
Yeah.
because we had a long day
I
shooting.
know you're
today.
rolling your little hair there.
Yeah,
You're
twirling my own
twirling
hair.
your hair. That's when
My
I
leg
know.
is crossed. The one that you say when you Instagram last week, said I'm not wearing shoes this time.
The old man sit.
The old man said.
I think I got to get a picture of this.
Another one?
Yeah.
We'll
I
see.
think this picture has to
Well,
happen.
I guess I got to twirl my hair too. Right?
Twirl your hair. Twirl your little hair. There it is. Wow. That'll happen. I'm going to put that in the Instagram. You can follow that at
I gotta approve.
Rated R. But wait a minute. Hey, we
gotta
got to mention the fact that the E&C Pod of Awesomeness has an Instagram now.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Say it.
At E&C Pod of Awesomeness?
Yeah, and
Or at EC Pod of Awesomeness.
Yeah.
EC Pod of Awesomeness.
and mine is Christian for Peeps, the same as my Twitter, and it's now mine because the person that made it up got me 187,000 followers
Man.
off the hop. I haven't posted anything yet, but I'm going to pretty soon.
I don't believe you got all your followers. I didn't get any. That's bullshit.
Fucking Marks follow me everywhere.
Bullshit. All right, and I also want to. I still think we do the Dusty birthday.
Yeah, we
I think
should.
That'll be really cool.
All right.
Anyway, all right.
Gotta go.
See ya. We gotta go film.